We are almost set to go then for our first race of the day here at Campos. It's finals day. These guys are not yet into the finals. It's their last chance to do so. 22 drivers in the junior second chance seats. The top 6 of them will go through, and during the 28 that have already qualified on the onto the pre-final, they will join them on the back of the grid. And they're going out onto the circuit now on what is a damp, blustery circuit. Not too much rain, but some rain in the air. There's a little bit of moisture on the circuit. There's not really any surface water, but it's going to be slippery and greasy out there. So there on screen you can see the grid. Let me read it out to you as it stands. So the driver on pole position is Kasper Koyas in kart number 40, the one that just missed out on getting straight through to the final. So he's on pole position for the second chance heat. Alongside his number 25, Adam Ateki. On row 2 we've got number 30, Paul Catal-Quencha, and number 35, Ido Cohen. On row 3, Scott Simmons, who's in number 46, and Cameron Bodler, number 43. On row 4, Alejandro Schimpf, number 57, and Mika Moyen, number 50. Row 5, Matvez Makusins, number 55, and Antoine Perceval, number 33. Row 6, Alejandro Lejos, and he's in kart number 26. And number 41 is Liedmar Siem. Row 7, we've got Ollie Caldwell, number 71, and Jack Spinola, number 19. Row 8, Christian Davis is in kart number 18. Kenzo Etz is in number 73. Row 9, we've got Phil Durr, number 21, and Titus Shanghai Schmiedli, number 88. Row 10, Pablo Diaz de Mera, number 37, and number 29, Jeremy Potan. Pablo Diaz de Mera, number 37, and Jeremy Potan, number 29. Row 11, the final row of the grid. 39 is Hugo Anderson, and 56 is Adrian Schimpf. So 22 drivers, all fighting it out for those 6 spaces at the back of the grid for the race later on. This, like the heats yesterday, is a 7-lap race. The pre-finals and the finals later on today will be a little bit longer. So Kasper Koyas on pole position, younger brother of Kevin Koyas, former champion of the Euro Challenge. He was a junior champion, his older brother. Was it back in 2007? And went on a few years after that to become the Formula Renault Euro Cup champion, and more recently racing in the European Le Mans Series. And at the start of this year, a few weeks ago, was out at the 24-hour race at Dubai for his first 24-hour race. This is his younger brother, Kasper, who is, as I say, there on the pole position. And if he can stay there, if he can stay in the top 6, he'll be making it through to the final, or the pre-final at least. So these are the drivers that had a bit of bad luck yesterday, didn't quite get the run, maybe didn't quite have the setup, things didn't go well enough for them to qualify. And 42 points was the cut-off for getting through to the pre-final. Kasper Koyas got 44, so he missed out by a couple of points, a couple of positions in his races. He showed what he could do though in his final race, where he finished in 7th place. So, but 2 bad heats early on in the day really put pay to his chances of going straight through. There are others out there that showed good potential yesterday when things were working for them. Scott Simmons, who's a few rows back, he got a 6th place finish in his first heat yesterday before things went a little bit pear-shaped. So one more chance now to go through. If you're not in the top 6 at the end of the race, you're on your way home, I'm afraid. So they're going to give this everything. These are always very, very lively races. And you can see on the camera screen there, that's the view into turn 12, where there's been lots of overtaking this weekend. And you can see the water coming on the lens. So it's not raining particularly heavy, but the wind is blowing it around, and it is incredibly greasy. So they're being led around, ready for the rolling start by number 40, Kasper Koyas. And I think they're going to be sent round again. Yep, they were not exactly punched up, were they? So being sent around again, and give them another chance, although they'll be at low speed. It'll give them another chance just to try and get a feel for if there's any grip out there at all anywhere. We've got somebody joining late who's just come out of the pits now, and that looks like it's number 35, I think. He's trying to wake his way back into the pack. Was it 35 or 55 it could have been? No, 35, Ido Cohen, who should be near the front. So he's trying to get his way back through the pack and back into his rightful grid position. So it looks like he's had a drama, and luckily for him there's another formation lap, and he's had this opportunity to get into the race and get onto his grid position. So Koyas number 40 and Ateki number 25 on the front row. Castellata-Quencha and Cohen on row 2. Ido Cohen, who's 13 years of age, from, will be 14 now, almost 14, from Tel Aviv in Israel. and last season, 2014, was his first year of international competition. He's one of many drivers that have switched teams this year, and he's joined the CRG Spa team for this season. And just behind him, Cameron Bodler, of a similar age, a new driver to the championship. He's in 6th place on the grid at the moment. He could stay there, Cameron, or make his way through to the final. Has a Brazilian background, lives over in Europe now. Been racing for around about 7 years. Started karting when he was in Brazil. Started driving at the age of 6 and racing at the age of 7. He's actually entered as a German driver because he's got a dual nationality. He is Brazilian, as I say, but lives out in Portugal now, but had to get his license issued by the German Federation. But he is very much a Brazilian driver, and this Winter Cup is his first international race, his first time at this track, and his first time as a junior max racer. And he's only just turned 13. He's only just old enough to be in the category, juniors for 13 to 15-year-olds. So that's Cameron Bodler, number 43, 6th on the grid. Let's see how he can get on. A bit further back, Ollie Caldwell, with work to do, 13th on the grid. His day started terribly yesterday when something went awry and he lost a wheel in his first heat, and things didn't get too much better during the course of the day. But Ollie Caldwell, hopefully, from his point of view, will have a better start to Sunday. He's 12 years of age, from Stockbridge in Hampshire. One of the drivers run by Coles Racing, Adrian Coles' team. Been racing for 4 years now, and was a top 10 finisher in the Cadet Championships in Great Britain. So has stepped up in terms of category and the amount of power that he has. So big learning curve after finishing 9th in the Cadet Championship last year. But now let's focus on the start of this race, because they're all bunched up. They're coming out of the last corner, and we are about ready to go racing here at Campios. It's a lovely start from Casper Corlias. He's not going to be under any pressure at all, I don't think, going into the first run. Ido Kona looks like has had a decent start as well, and might just slot into 2nd place down through the first turn. They've safely negotiated turns 1 and 2 now, and as you can see on the live pictures here, they're climbing uphill for most of the first sector. There's one little drop which they're going through now on the way down into the right-hander at turn 5, but from turn 6 to turn 7 it's climbing uphill again, and it's quite an incline, and then it's dropping all the way downhill now, down till they get to turn number 9, down at the next hairpin. So some out-braking opportunities. Got to be a little bit careful because it is a bit slippy out there. They come onto the mid-straight then. Our pole sitter continues to lead the race. It is, in fact, coming up into 2nd place. Looks like Alejandro Lejos, I think, number 26, that's made the march. No, it's number 25 that's got through. And there's side-by-side action for 2nd place as well. Paul Cutler-Quencho is just about hanging on to that position, but he was under threat on the way into the right-hander at turn 11. One driver at the back of the field just slipping and sliding around, trying to control things here. So number 25, Adam Ateki, hanging on to 2nd place, doing a good job to do that early on, and he's going for the lead of the race now, the bright green colour scheme. Ateki, the French driver, tries to get the lead, doesn't do so. The 3 of them are together as they go across the start-finish line. Trying to go around the outside is Paul Cutler-Quencho, and I think he's done so. That's a lovely move from 3rd to 1st, and he has stormed it around the outside of the first corner. So Paul Cutler-Quencho, the Spanish driver, from 3rd to 1st with a very brave move around the outside on a greasy track, not quite knowing how much grip would be there. There's been a bit of entanglement further back down the field on the way into turn 3. We've lost 3 or 4. One of them's pointed in the wrong direction, and looks like he's stranded on the racing line, and that's number 39, Hugo Anderson, who started towards the back of the grid anyway, but he's had a disaster, I'm afraid. He wasn't the only one that got tangled up in that. A couple of others at the back of the field as well have had a bad start to that lap, but got going again. So lovely move from Paul Cutler-Quencho to get the lead of the race from Casper Corlias. The one that was trying to attack for the lead was Adam Ateki, but he's ended up back down in 3rd place now. Ida Cohen is in 4th, and we've got 3 of them battling over 5th, 6th and 7th positions. That's almost more important than the battle for the lead of the race, because that's the battle, the 3 of them, for the final 2 places on the grid. So the 3 of them going for 5th, 6th and 7th positions at the moment. There's a bit of a gap, and there's another train of 4 karts in the mix as well. In that second group, we've got Mika Morian, Jack Spinola and Cameron Bodler, who's made a good start to the race. Through they come over the start-finish line. Quencher, Ateki and Curious. Cohen fourth on his own a little bit. Morian to the head of that next group. Bodler's up to sixth place now, the German driver, so he's into the top six in car number 43. He's the last qualifier at the moment. Jack Spinola, the Portuguese driver, is seventh. Antoine Percival is eighth at the end of that lap. Matvez Makusins is in ninth. Jeremy Potan has made his way up into 10th place. So, with only a fairly short race, 7 laps, you want to be making sure you're in the top 10 by now to really stand a chance, realistically, of getting into that top 6. The top 4 look settled, and 5th and 6th are beginning to pull away now from the train of 5 karts from 7th downwards. Iteki in 2nd place at the moment, but he's about to lose that on the way into turn 10. As back down the inside of him goes the pole sitter, Kasper Curious. So Kasper, the blue colour scheme at his bodywork, runs wide though at the next corner at turn 11. So greasy, it's very easy to miss the apex. He gives the place away, but gets it back down on the run to turn 12. So he's got to get back through into 2nd place. I think he's going to take Ido Cohen with him. Ido will go 3rd. And so down to 4th place goes Adam Ateki by the looks of things. Yes, he's down to 4th place, but there is still plenty of margin back to the huge battle which is now beginning to develop for 5th place. It's being led currently by number 50, Mika Morian, but he's got a queue behind him, and this is going to be a fearsome battle here. There's been a change for 6th place just behind him as well. They went across the line with Morian 5th, Percival 6th and Bodler 7th. I think Bodler went around the outside, got himself into 6th place, and he might have just gone 5th as well. Looks like they've changed positions again midway through the first sector. And there's a huge trade here from 5th downwards. I think it is Bodler, yeah, that's got to the head of that group. So he's gone from 7th to 5th at the start of this lap. So this is where the key battle is in this race and these final qualifying positions. Adam Ateki looks like he's on a slow lap here. He's maybe made a mistake somewhere. He's dropped right back from the top 3. It's Percival actually that's got through to the head of that next train. So he's in 5th place now. 43 Cameron Bodler did make a place up, but not 2. So he's in 6th position. 7th is about to change hands as well. Just behind, losing out was Matvez Makusins there. He's just lost a position, I think, to Jack Spinola as they went through turn 11. So Paul Catalat Quencher, number 30, leads the race. Kasper Curious in 2nd. Ido Cohen 3rd. Adam Ateki falling behind in 4th place. Mika Morian and Cameron Bodler 5th and 6th, the other qualifiers as it stands. They go through. So there's 3 laps to go on the board. Big battle going on between Morian and Makusins now as they go into the first turn, and through the right hander there's no change, but Morian in 7th place and Makusins in 8th place are battling each other for 7th, but they really need to make sure they don't lose tack with the top 6. They swapped again. Oh, there's a bit of contact between them up the top of the turn through the left hander at 4. One of them rides over the other, and that was in that battle for 7th. The one that came off worse was number 50, Mika Morian. Makusins was delayed as well, and that's going to drop them back away from 6th place. So the top 6 now have a little bit of breathing space. Running in 6th position is Cameron Bodler, and he's probably got about half a second gap back now to the new 7th place driver, which is number 19, Jack Spinola, who's come from 14th place on the grid. Jack in turn has got quite a big gap back to the 8th place driver, which is number 56, Adrian Schimpf. Haven't talked too much about him yet, but Adrian's come right from the back of the grid, from dead last, 22nd on the grid. And he's made up, I think, 4 places on that lap when there was that entanglement up at turn 4. So a couple of laps to go in this race. The leaders go through. Paul Catalat Quencher, 0.6 of a second clear of Kasper Curious. Ido Cohen 3rd, Adam Ateki 4th, Antoine Percival 5th. Cameron Bodler 6th, Jack Spinola up to 7th, and trying to bridge the gap now with just 2 laps to go. He's got to try and find 1.3 seconds to get into the top 6. Adrian Schimpf 8th, as I said. Jeremy Potan up to 9th. Liedmar Sim 10th. Makusins dropped to 11th. Lehos is 12th, and Morian, after that coming together, dropped down to 13th place now. For the ultimate time, into turn 9 comes our race leader, Paul Catalat Quencher. Was 0.7 of a second clear of Kasper Curious, the pole sitter, at the start of the lap, and that gap has come down to just a couple of tenths now, I reckon. Ido Cohen is nice and safe in 3rd place. 4th and 5th run together as they go through the left-hander at turn 10. 4th is still Number 25, Ateki, but Antoine Percival is closing in on him. It will affect their grid positions, but it won't affect whether or not they're in the final. It doesn't matter too much whether you're 5th or 6th, but what you might think about is whether you want to be on the inside line for the pre-final or on the outside line. And of course, the higher up the order you get here, the higher up the grid you'll be, albeit towards the back, for the pre-final. On to the last lap of the race we go then. Our leader pulls back away in the second half of that lap. Quencher was not so quick through sectors 1 and 2, but he had a good sector 3, pulled back away from Cordius. Cohen, Ateki, Percival and Bodler still in the qualifying position. Spinola has brought the gap down though. Jack Spinola, number 19, was 1.3 seconds behind at the start of the lap. He's now 0.7 seconds behind. Still a lot to ask, but if he could do that again on this lap, he might just get onto the tail of 6th place right at the end here. Be really frustrating for him if he can't quite get there, having done all the work and being in 7th place. It looks unlikely, although the two French drivers, Ateki and Percival, are starting to battle each other now in 4th and 5th positions. Cameron Bodler is 6th, and he has been caught quite a lot at the start of this lap, and he's going defensive now, so Cameron Bodler's lost a lot of time through the first sector, and this is the battle for the 6th and final qualifying position with half a lap to go. Cameron Bodler suddenly comes under pressure. Number 43 from number 19, Jack Spinola. That's the battle to watch. Bodler with the yellowy-green helmet coming out of turn 11 down towards turn 12 now. He's got 2 lengths advantage. Closing in under braking is Spinola, but he's not close enough. They've got 2 corners to go. Can he hang on to it? Meanwhile, the flag is going to come out. Our winner is going to be Quencher. But what about this battle for the final qualifying position? It's still going to be Cameron Bodler, but it's only going to be by a whisker. Oh, he looks up and looks to the gods, does Jack Spinola. I can't believe it. I got so close, but I just run out of time. And after all that effort, a mighty effort from Jack Spinola, who was 1.3 seconds down with 2 laps to go, he got right onto the tail of Cameron Bodler and got the gap down to 0.2 of a second. He actually, I think, got the gap down to 0.2 of a second halfway around that last lap, but he couldn't quite do anything about Cameron Bodler, who dug in, kept his cool, and did a good job in the final half of the lap to make sure he stayed in 6th place. So the provisional results off the screen tell us that Paul Quencher is the winner of the race and will therefore be 29th on the grid for the pre-final, and he'll be joined by 5 other drivers in that pre-final. The pole sitter Kasper Koryas, the Estonian, 2nd place. Ida Cohen, the Israeli, in 3rd. The 2 French drivers, Adam Ateki and Antoine Percival, 4th and 5th. And Cameron Bodler, the German driver, in 6th place. Those are the ones that go through. Jack Spinola's 7th, and he's going to miss out, as will everybody behind him, unless there is anything that goes on afterwards, which has been known in the past. Any kind of penalties are issued. Scott Simmons didn't start the race. Christian Davis didn't start the race. He's had problems throughout the weekend after one particularly good heat where he went from the back to near the front. The weekend got worse. So Quencher, Koryas, Cohen, Ateki, Percival and Bodler are the 6 drivers that make it through. Adrian Schimpf, who went from the back into the top 10, had a good drive, doesn't quite make it through, but he did get the fastest lap of the race with a 1:20.381. That is the end of the junior second chance.